Okay, so you know how much I love a good list?
Oh, yeah.
Like those best of lists?
Yeah.
Especially like if we're talking about driving routes, right?
Yeah.
Something subjective like that.
Right.
So today we are going to dive into one of those lists,
Okay.
a top 10 best Massachusetts routes list.
Interesting.
And this is compiled by users of the website, thetop10s.com.
Cool.
I got to say, some of these picks surprised me.
Oh, really?
We've got a stack of maps here and a bunch of interesting tidbits about these roadways.
Awesome.
So have you driven any of these routes? I'm really curious.
I've definitely been on some of them.
If our deep dive here
Yeah.
matches your experience.
Well, let's see.
All right, I'm excited. So one thing that stood out to me when I was looking at this list
Okay.
is that they seem to be really prioritizing adventure,
Uh-huh.
particularly with the longer routes on there.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
Right.
You know, it's about that journey.
The experience.
And so I was particularly intrigued by the description of Route 28,
Okay.
which is a whopping 152 miles long.
Wow, that is a long route.
The second longest on their list.
Yeah,
And they call it an awesome adventure.
it is a good one.
But what makes it so adventurous, right? Is it the scenery? Is it the history? Something else entirely?
Route 28, it meanders through all these really diverse landscapes. So you've got, charming coastal towns and historic villages.
Oh, yeah.
But then you're also going through like inland forests and cranberry bogs.
I love cranberry bogs.
It's pretty cool. Those are so cool.
Like driving through a postcard,
Yeah.
A living postcard of Massachusetts history.
Definitely. And you always find some hidden gems
Oh, for sure.
tucked away in every corner on these long routes.
Absolutely.
Speaking of long and winding roads,
Uh-huh.
they also included Route 3,
Okay.
or US Route 3 on here.
Right.
And get this.
What?
They claim it starts from the same point as Route 28.
But offers a completely different awesome adventure.
So different starting points, same awesomeness.
Exactly.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Well, Route 3
Yeah.
kind of takes you further north and west.
Okay.
And eventually you're hugging the New Hampshire border.
Up there.
And it's known for its breathtaking mountain views, particularly during foliage season.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Think about winding roads through colorful forests and these quaint towns nestled in the valleys.
Like a different kind of adventure.
Right.
Like maybe less ocean, more mountains.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've established that longer routes often mean more adventure, at least according to this list.
Makes sense.
But then they throw us a curveball
Okay.
with Route 20,
Oh, yeah, Route 20.
which they describe as a badass highway.
I mean,
Even though it has a 50-mile-per-hour speed limit,
yeah.
what makes it so badass?
Well, Route 20,
Yeah.
first, one of the oldest roads in America. It dates back to colonial times.
Wow.
It predates the whole interstate system.
Really?
Yeah, and embodies this classic American road trip spirit, It's not so much about speed as it is about, experiencing the open road, these wide open landscapes and all those
Yeah.
quirky roadside attractions that just make a road trip memorable.
Right, like those weird roadside attractions.
Exactly.
Like the world's largest ball of yarn.
Yeah, all that stuff.
That kind of thing. Like stepping back in time a little bit.
Sure.
And it's interesting how they contrast it with Interstate 495,
Yeah.
which they praise for its 65-mile-per-hour speed limit
Yeah.
and its convenient connection to I-195.
Makes sense.
They're clearly, highlighting two
Right.
very different driving experiences there.
Exactly. Some drivers prioritize efficiency and speed.
Mm-hmm.
495 is going to cater to that need,
Totally.
getting you from the suburbs to the Cape with no fuss.
Yeah.
But others crave that sense of freedom and exploration.
Right.
And Route 20 provides that,
That's true.
All
right, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about the interstates on this list.
Okay, sounds good.
Because, they've got some strong opinions
Yeah.
about these concrete behemoths.
Uh-huh.
So they give a shout out to I-90, the infamous Mass Pike,
Oh, yeah, of course.
for its length and its notoriety.
Makes sense.
But they also highlight I-93
Uh-huh.
for its directness.
Right.
And they contrast that with I-95,
Yeah.
which they perceive as being a little bit more meandering, shall we say.
Right. I-95 is definitely not the most direct.
Yeah. And then there's their bold statement
Oh, here we go.
that I-190 is superior to I-290,
Interesting.
although their reasoning is pretty vague.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on these interstate comparisons?
Well,
Yeah.
Mass Pike obviously,
It's iconic.
despite its tolls,
Yeah, those tolls.
revolutionized travel across the state when it was built,
It did.
Connected Boston to the western part of the state and beyond, opened up a lot of economic travel opportunities.
Yeah.
I-93's directness, I think, likely stems from its north-south orientation,
Right through the heart of the state.
cutting right through.
Yeah.
As for 190 versus 290,
Yeah, that was a head scratcher for me.
could be down to just,
Yeah.
Personal preference or specific travel patterns, you know?
Yeah, maybe they just had a bad experience on 290 one time and were like, never again.
Who knows?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
happens.
Okay, things get a little confusing with Route
Oh.
27 and 28A.
All right, so,
Lay it on me. They claim these routes are similar,
okay.
but then go on to say that Route 27
Uh-huh.
doesn't actually connect to Route 28.
Okay.
And instead, they focus on Route 27's connection to Brockton.
Interesting.
Help us untangle this.
I'll try. Well, 27 and 28A,
Yeah.
they run somewhat parallel, especially on the South Shore,
Okay.
which might explain the perceived similarity.
Right.
However, 27 veers inland towards Brockton,
Okay.
while 28A continues along the coast.
I see. So
Right.
different endpoints.
Different endpoints.
Different,
Orifices.
almost
is-
exactly catering to different needs.
Okay, that clears things up.
Glad to hear it.
And finally, we've got Route 140.
All right. Route 140.
This one seems less about adventure
Hmm.
and more about practicality.
Okay.
They praise it for connecting New Bedford
Uh-huh.
to New Hampshire
Wow.
and basically making life easier.
It does.
So what's the story behind this route?
Well, Route 140
Yeah.
plays a crucial role in connecting communities and facilitating trade.
Okay,
It links New Bedford, a major port city,
right.
to the rest of the state and beyond.
Yep.
Makes it easier to transport goods and services.
So it's less about the fun road trip.
Sometimes.
More about, we got to get these goods where they need to go.
It's vital,
Yeah.
part of our infrastructure. Totally. And it's amazing how we can learn so much from a simple best of list like this.
I know, it's fascinating.
But here's what I find really interesting,
Okay.
is that the list draws parallels
Yeah.
between certain routes.
Mm-hmm.
They point out that Route 2 and I-495
Okay.
both connect to I-93 in New Hampshire.
Right.
And they even compare this connection strategy to that of I-90 and US 20, suggesting that there's some sort of pattern in how our highways were planned.
That's a great observation. I think this pattern reflects the evolution of our transportation system,
Oh, interesting.
Highways often follow the paths of older roads or natural corridors,
Makes sense.
and they connect major population centers and economic hubs,
Yeah.
shaping the way we move and interact across the state.
It's all connected.
Exactly.
Right. So we've explored a diverse range of driving experiences offered by Massachusetts routes.
We have.
From scenic
Yeah.
adventures to efficient interstates and these vital connectors.
Good mix.
But here's a question
Oh, I like questions.
for you to ponder as we wrap up.
Okay, I'm ready.
What makes a road trip truly adventurous for you?
Ooh, good question.
Is it the scenery, the history, the open road itself, or something else entirely?
Something to think about.
And maybe this deep dive
Yeah,
has inspired you to plan your own Massachusetts road trip.
road trip time.
Let us know where you decide to go.
Definitely.
All right, thanks for joining us
Thanks for having me.
for this deep dive
It was fun.
into Massachusetts routes.
Until next time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.